Yo, everybody. Hey, I know it's been a little while since we last talked to everybody. Uh, sometimes my other businesses sometimes get a little carried away and grow, and so I've been away for a bit. So anyway, hey, Norp, Silver Age, Peacemaker, hey. Oh, we missed a lot of action. Earth X, yay. I didn't say Earth X, yay, but introduction of Earth X is interesting to this DC universe, as are all the other 99 doors. So this episode, Keith in the night, but the way I like to call this is Earth X. Man, what a crazy, bizarre, off the wall ride this is. This episode definitely has set this incredible standards. James Gunn, so far, hats off to you, what you're doing for DC, how you have interconnected Superman as well. Kudos. Peacemaker, you can see on here on the screen, basically at this point, at the cast, their little dancing thing. I know last year's was a little bit better, but I still think this is kind of cool. I really enjoy it. And I'm hoping you guys have been enjoying it. And of course, my favorite, Eagly, yay. So, and then once again, like I said, Eagly, love him dancing. Love the effect, and I know they're some of the choreography, I guess, associated with Sol Rodriguez. Awesome. Appreciate it. Nice work. So, this episode, Keith in the Night, I'm going to say, damn good. Best thing I've seen from DC and Marvel this year, by far. Very awesome. And my scale, as you can see here, I'm giving it a platinum rating. And my scale is has 7 levels. And TI, well, it should be 10. Anyway, 7 scales. Platinum being the highest, platinum being the second highest. This has done it. Superb writing, superb acting, superb storyline. John Cena as Chris Smith, as Peacemaker. I'm going to say this is like an Academy Award, not Academy, an Emmy type of thing he's done. His acting's been incredible. He shows his chops, shows his emotional levels. This is incredible. I love this. Love this platinum. Keep it up. So just, a little quick prior history. The prior episode, we saw Lex and Rick Flag talking with each other. Rick needs some help. And of course, Lex wants anything to do to get out of prison, but he also wants to get back in this portal game because he knows there's some other stuff out there that he wants to get his hands on. And he points him to a colleague of his that worked for him that's very loyal, that can find the portal. So these guys come to an agreement. That's a good thing. Now, when Chris went into Earth X, of course, he didn't know it was Earth X, but he thought it was the greatest dimension ever. But what he didn't realize, the Nazis won. And, and John Gunn had referenced that his inspiration to this wasn't necessarily comic books, but was actually Man from the High Castle, which I thought, the first two seasons were awesome, and got a little weak toward the end. But, kudos. And Chris Smith, being his sweet, naive, not paying attention self all the time, missed clues like this, the Mein Kampf thing laying around, the Nazi flag. He just saw that he had a brother that was still alive, that loved him. He saw a dad who actually loved him, unlike his dad on our Earth, his Earth. So he was sucked into this and really wanted this. And of course, Hardcore going over there to try, and the rest of the 11th Street Gang going over there to get him, has made a big wake up call to him. And, so there was the escape. But as you know, you may recall the prior episode, Leia, she went out for a breath of fresh air, and she didn't know about this being Nazi planet. And she didn't know that all blacks and other races are in work camps. And she was being chased after, and Judo Master actually ends up saving her. And you can see him about to electrify a pool to save her. And then, as we know, Harcourt, she doesn't, in this thing, she doesn't show enough. I mean, from Chris Smith in this storyline, she hides her emotions from herself, doesn't know how to get her emotions out of her because she's got to go to bars, get beat up, get her emotions out of her. And she doesn't even know how to let Chris know that she loves him. And Chris is says, I love you even if you don't love me. And, in this particular case, the only time we actually really see her emotionally showing that she really feels comfortable and loves Chris is this moment when they're riding a cycle and escaping Argus headquarters with the cops after them. And then this, when they get caught by the cops and the cops are about trying to get him to shoot off, his dad and brother come over and save them, and say, hey, you got to come with us, because his dad realizes that these guys are not from this dimension and they better not get caught because they don't need the portal thing to come out. And his dad was afraid about that kind of stuff. And so it was interesting how this came about, kind of cool. And this particular scene is the result of, they all go to his dad's house, they talk, and vigilantes end up breaking in, end up killing his dad because he, thinking he was evil. But right before his dad gets killed, his dad admits that he's here to do good things. He's only here to attack the monsters in front of him, make things better he can control. And he basically is not a Nazi. And his other son, Keith, is kind of borderline in that regard. And I'm guessing Peacemaker in that universe, the Earth X universe, is kind of that way too. And his dad was the only thing that focal him here. But when his dad died, this fight ends up happening. And, Keith almost tries to go kill Peacemaker. And this is them holding him back and beating on him. And then Chris is just like, at this point, is like, oh my God, what is going on? Am I the harbinger of death? Everywhere I go, my dad gets killed, my brother gets killed, my brother is almost getting killed. The emotions of the moment are just wiping him out. Storyline is incredible in this regard. And remember, every one of these characters is broken somehow or another. And I think episode 8 may be some of their redemption that's coming. Maybe not totally, but Chris is trying to atone for everything is bad. As you know, he at the end probably gives himself up, kind of. Here's another emotional state. Once again, John Cena, awesome. I mean, Emmy quality. Oop, went too far. And so when Keith was about trying to go after him, and he gets knocked down by the street gang, 11th Street Gang, and they're all going to try and escape through the portal because the police have tried to broken in. Keith looks like he's trying to kill John Cena for sure at this point. Chris Smith is the doppelganger from the other universe. And Hardcore can see this, and Hardcore thinks this guy is about to turn into a massive villain and try to go after Chris and kill Chris. So she decides that I got to do something about this. And at that point, the police break in, and they all have to run because there's a shoot-offs, and they go through the portal. Chris goes through the portal, and then they go on the other side, and Chris closes the portal. This is when he's coming out of the house, Vigilante's house. You can see everything. He's just totally has nothing left. And he doesn't realize his friends are there for him, but he just is so devastated. So I just, once again, I give this kudos in this. So they come out. There's Argus. Argus is waiting for him. And what I find, it's interesting here is Judo Master is standing in that line. I think Judo Master is turning into a double agent, but nobody knows that on either side at this point. I think Judo Master really likes Chris and he wants to help everybody. And so at this point, Chris then drops the portal box. Oop, wrong place. He drops the portal box, and then Argus takes it, and then they take him away. And there's, Chris Smith totally destroyed. But he's thinking that, okay, I'm giving myself up for my friends. The best place for me is to be away from anybody in a cell where no one else can die because I'm the harbinger of death, the angel of death. And he's just totally wiped out. Once again, the screenplay, the photography, the emotional role this is on, incredible again. Now, a little bit later in the post-credit scenes, we see Chris, doesn't want to take any visitors, and we find out we have the visitors here. They're allowed to see him. The interesting thing on here is Adrian Chase is on the list. Not up until this episode, Adrian Chase, his name was not known. He was Vigilante. So I'm wondering what happened here. Everything got disclosed because Argus had no idea who Vigilante was, where he lived, nothing like that. So I'm thinking that's going to be a lot of play. Then we saw little snippets later, and we see this where Harcourt and I can't remember her name right now are talking, and I think she's going to tell Harcourt that I don't trust Rick Flag. We need to do something to protect this. And I think this is what's happening. That's why you see a little bit of leaning forward, I think, of Harcourt. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this. More Silver Age again. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And then, of course, we got the guy that scanned and broke this shit and figured out where everything is. He's going to play some sort of role, but I think he's more interested in discovery and finding things, and without thinking about ramification stuff. I think somehow he's going to screw up something, and a door's going to go bizarre, bamming in their face because it's what he's going to do. I don't know who this hand is from the scene we're seeing opening a door, but be careful what's behind some doors. Looks like mushrooms. Looks like a plant that may have gone through nuclear waste or something. Or protection suits. So they must have taken something from Stargate where they throw a probe in there. We'll find out. And then this thing, another dimension of the 99 other doors that are there. It's from a comic book in the 50s, some time frame on the cover. I don't remember the name of that. I'll give you a heads up on that next show. Hey, want to hear your thoughts? Let me know your thoughts, and please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.